What's up, everybody? I'm B-True, and today we're going to be going over a complete list of teams and viable options you can use with the Fire main for Naruto Online. So, right now, the Fire main is probably tied for the best endgame main character in the game. He is extremely strong, especially depending on what team you end up going with. And for the most part, that is because of, wait for it, his fourth mystery right here, the illusion mirroring vision. So this grants not only a shield to everybody on your team, but it also removes all debuffs and makes your team immune to all debuffs for an entire round. And the farther into end game status you get in this game, the more important immunity to debuffs becomes, because there are more and more characters now that either ignore debuffs or are able to remove debuffs. And so being able to selectively give your team not only a shield but immunity is actually really, really strong. So the Lightning Main was strong for a very long time because they had the passive that gave you 2-turn immunity to all debuffs. But now with how many characters there are, they're able to remove this. Now, because the Fire main has a triggerable mystery that will do that as well, it's actually a slightly better version than the Lightning mains, as well as the fact that the Oboro clone jutsu is extremely, extremely strong, having that extra tanky clone out in front of you that you can put in front of your main character to pretty much absorb all damage in the first round. Makes, and also don't forget the AoE standard attack. So those three things pretty much make, actually four things, I forgot, the Genjutsu Mirror Return. Also being able to reflect one debuff every round is also really, really strong, because it makes other teams have to kind of work around that and hold off on their hard crowd control so that they don't waste it with like a debuff and have that sent back to them. So okay, there we go. Those things are what make the Fire main arguably the best main character in the game right now. It's between the Fire main and the Earth main, most likely. Wind main is situational. I think the Earth main and the Fire main are much more well-rounded, and they can be used better. So, all right, let's talk about all of the possible teams that we can use for the Fire main. All right, so when you first start off in the game, okay, up till about level 60 or so, there is not a lot of options for you to use, okay? Unless, what is going on? Why does it take so long to load here? Okay, so unless you are using, unless you get one of the rare characters from one of the events, if you end up getting really lucky and getting them in a spin, or if you pay to buy for them, buy them, not pay to buy, that's not even a thing. Unless you pay for them, you don't have a ton of options, okay? So for the most part, your best initial team is going to be something along the lines of Iruka. Let's go with, you can either go with Neji or Hinata. Either one is going to work out pretty well for you. If you do that, you're going to want to put Neji out in front like that. And then either you can go with Sasuke for the additional damage in the combo, or you can go with Sakura for the healing. Okay, so this would be a pretty standard initial team, and it would be, you'd want to put the Fire main like somewhere around like there. So in this case, the Fire main would be your damage dealer. So you want to either go with Fire Style or the Dragon Flame. Dragon Flame is going to be better for the AoE damage, so you're going to want to probably stick with that one right there. And then, so with the clone out in front, you've got Neji absorbing damage, you've got Iruka for the shields, and Sakura for the healing. This is a pretty strong team right here. And then, like I said, you can also go with Hinata instead, because then you have Hinata with her acupuncture in her chase. Okay, so having the acupuncture in your chase is really good, being able to select individual units that you're actually going to acupuncture is really strong. That's the other reason why you use Neji. With Neji in the first turn, you can acupuncture somebody directly. You can choose to acupuncture somebody. So this is a really strong team to start off with for the majority of the game. Like I said, if you need a little bit more damage, you want a higher combo, all you do is you replace Sasuke in there. Now you have a better combo. You've got Ignition with him. You can use Ignition with the Fire main as well. You've got Iruka to shield everybody. It's a really strong team to start off with right there. So After you get a little bit farther into the game, once you get to about level 60 or so, okay? So at that point, we're going to look at some of these treasures here. I don't know why it's taking so long to load. It's killing me. Okay, so first off, we're going to get this seal treasure right here. And in this seal treasure, do not waste any of your seal scrolls, okay? This is 100% a waste of seal scrolls if you use in this. Please, please, please save them up, okay? The first treasure that you should even consider spending in, what is the pain treasure comes before the Naruto treasure, I believe. Yeah, even this one, the pains are strong early game, but you really don't want to spend on this at all because there's nobody in here other than Tendo and Hashirama that are like really good, and they're super rare, so they're gonna take 400 seal scrolls to get to. So pains are good for early game strength, but honestly they're only going to be good for a very, very short amount of time, so I wouldn't waste on them at all. The first person that you really could spend for would be Sage Naruto. Sage Naruto is always a strong option, no matter what main character, no matter what team you're going for. You can put Sage Naruto in, one, because he's very tanky. He does a ton of damage. He has a clone that he continues to spawn up. He's a combo starter. He's pretty much a little bit of everything. He's really well-rounded all around. So you had put him in here, and even this would be a pretty strong team right there. But because you have Sage Naruto, you'd want something a little bit more healing in there. If you have her skill broken, Kurenai would be amazing to add to this team, okay? And you'd probably want to go with something like this, so that your fire main gets the ninjutsu boost from back here. He's got the clone. We got two clones in the front. Iruka to shield everybody. Kurenai to reflect the what's it called? The debuffs, and then you have her also. Her mystery will shield and heal people. So between all of them, you've got damage, healing, sustain, reflection of debuffs, all that good stuff. This would be a really strong team in the middle rounds, right around that level 60 when you unlock this. Okay. So then from here, the first treasure that I personally recommend to anybody to really spend in would be the 5 Kage treasure. The 5 Kage treasure is full of ninja that can help you in a variety of different ways. So in here, okay, these are all common. You get them pretty much for, just 10 pulls. The rare characters here, Onoki isn't really going to help you. You can use him for the barrier, but he's really not, really not the best. He's not going to help you out that much. May is another one who the barrier could help you out. At least she has the immobile in her chase. But I don't see a lot of fire mains using May. May's generally used more with the water main. Gaara, not really. Danzo could be, definitely, because he has the immobile with his chase, and he has the barrier that increases the fire. So Danzo would be the best as far as barriers go. And in this, like right around this time is when barriers are super, super, super important. Like everybody tries to get a barrier out. So Danzo would be good to have your own barrier there. Mifune, not really. Darui, not really. Killer Bee, not really. Chojuro, not really. Sasuke would definitely, both Sasuke and A at this point are really strong ninja, but you got to spend about 600 seal scrolls to get them, so I don't really expect anybody to get them, right out there. So as far as the rare characters go, you're looking pretty much at Danzo, Onoki, and Mei. Those would be like the 3 that would probably help you out the most. Unfortunately, not a ton of synergy with the Fire Main, but the Fire Main is good at making just normal characters strong around him. So again, with Sage Naruto, you could throw in an Onoki. You could put him like there, and then you have the 2 clones in front again. You got the barrier. You still have the healing and the shields, and you've got damage because his barrier is going to help out all these guys. This wouldn't be a bad team at all. The middle levels, the Fire Main kind of takes a step back. The Fire Main is really strong in the beginning, really strong in the end, but the middle levels, he's not all that strong because of the options available to him, okay? But once you start getting the end game ninja, then he takes a really big step forward. So the next treasure that we're going to be looking at, so that was our Tendo, that was the 5 Kage, yeah. So the Ito Tensei Treasure. I don't recommend spending in this because you get 2-star ninja, and that's basically a waste, and you're not going to use pretty much any of these characters. The only thing you would use is Susanoo Itachi, and you're better off trying to get his fragments through the 5 Kage Treasure than you are through the Ito Tensei Treasure, so don't waste on that. Land of Lightning Treasure, these are all, pretty much like it says, these are all meant for the Lightning main characters, so don't spend, if you plan on being the Fire main, don't spend on the Land of Lightning Treasure. They are strong. The third Raikage with Samui and Omui, or some form of that, or maybe with Darui for the barrier, definitely very strong. It's a very good option when this treasure opens up, but if you plan on being the Fire main, it's not going to be a good option for you, okay? So, Jinchuriki Treasure 1. I absolutely recommend going for Roshi. Everybody should have Roshi, especially when he goes unlocked. He's like a god for a pretty long time in this game. He's only 200 seal scrolls, so he's not even that bad to get, and you can use him with the Fire main with pretty much, any other team around him. The Jinchuriki 2, Han is situational. Okay, you can get Han if you want to run some form of a debuff team and you need to get rid of other people's shields and buffs. You can go with Han, but I don't necessarily recommend pulling for Han if you're going to get Roshi and you're not somebody who gets a ton of seal scrolls, okay? So, as far as those go, Roshi would be probably your best option. Now, a team that I ran, and you can run this team with the water main as well, but I went with, let's see if we can get this here. Roshi, Han, Hanzo, and the Fire main, and then I later switched it to the water main. But basically what you want to do, you want to give yourself the immunity, you want to give yourself the AoE, but then it's all about getting as many different debuffs as possible. So with Roshi's passive, he ignites a lot of people. We've got a 10 combo chase from Hanzo that causes poisoning. Oh, wait, do you want to go with this one? Yeah, you want the 10 combo starter, sorry. That's going to cause ignition to 2 people. We've got poisoning here. We've got Han to get rid of their buffs so that you get rid of any immunity, and then you can trigger your own immunity after you use Han. So you get rid of all their immunity, and then you add your immunity on top. That gives you a really good start to the game right there. The water main gives you a little bit more poisoning. There's a little bit of a trade-off, but this is a decent, actually not decent, it's a pretty strong debuff team for a while in the game until you start getting to all the dodge ninja. But the dodge meta comes a little bit later depending on what level you are and how many pay-to-win events people are spending in. So, as far as the middle levels go, the Saves Naruto team is still really good. Any kind of team with Roshi is going to be good. Basically, all you want to do is you want to buff Roshi as much as you can. So you could go with a Kurenai and have double support characters to help out Roshi, and then you might just want to add a little bit more damage to him. The thing you could do is you could run Cursed Hidan if you had Cursed Hidan. Not necessarily with the Roshi team. You could run with the Roshi team because then you get off that 30-hit chase for Roshi. But it doesn't necessarily have to be with Roshi because you can use the Fire Style enhancement to increase his damage. Cursed Hidan's probably a little bit better with the Lightning main because of the lifesteal. It just synergizes a little better with Hidan. But you can work with that team there. So, finally, we get to the Great Ninja War Treasure. Okay, now, with the Great Ninja War Treasure, this is... there's a lot of really strong ninja in here. And the Fire main is able to help out a lot of these characters as well. First off, both Madara and KCM Naruto are really strong, but not necessarily with the Fire main, right? So Madara is really strong with the Lightning main, with the full Uchiha team. Naruto is really strong with the Earth main. He can be strong with the Fire main will work with both of these characters, okay? Absolutely will work with both of these characters. So don't think that I'm saying that they're not good, because then you can also buff Madara with the Fire Style enhancement. So let's take a look at some of these other characters here. Toro is very specific to the Lightning main, so him and Amayori Ringo definitely don't help out. You can run Mangetsu depending on what team you're going with. That's not a problem. You can go with Kushimaru and the Jinpachi, that team, but unfortunately, again, they're a little bit more suited for the Lightning main. It's weird. It's like a lot of the ninja and the treasures aren't necessarily the best, and they're not suited all that well for the Fire main. But the event characters are. So the event, like the pay-to-win characters, the characters that you get through events and stuff only, not through the treasures, they are extremely good with the Fire main, which is like it's a weird balance to have, because unfortunately, it makes the Fire main like a pay-to-win kind of main almost, which is one of the reasons why the Fire main is so strong late game, because all these late game pay-to-win strong characters synergize really, really well with the Fire main. But the Fire main is best at just being a support character, and that's basically what you want to do. Is you want to pay for these really, really strong characters, and then use the Fire main as a top tier support character to keep them alive and keep them doing all their damage, right? So someone like Ito Datara. Ito Datara is pretty strong with the Fire main, but he'd be stronger with the Earth main, to be honest. But like Shisui's really, really strong. Plus, you can get the buff from the barrier. You can get the buff from the fire style enhancement. He has a dodge, which is really good for you as well. Okay, so let's take a look at some of these teams. One of the teams, actually, the team that I had been running for the longest time when I was playing the game was this team right here. So this team I used to very, very strong success, okay? Aruka is going to shield everybody. Shisui is going to buff everybody's damage in this team. They're all fire-styled ninja, but I actually went with Genjutsu Mirror Return because it was more defensive. I didn't have the most battle power compared to other people, so I used the Mirror Return because it gave me more survivability. You can go with Fire Style Enhancement if you have higher, like a higher battle power and you're fighting most people underneath you just to kill them quicker, but Genjutsu Mirror Return I would say is more beneficial in most fights, okay? And I'd go with that. I think it was that, and then it was Fukuromaru down in there. So this team is really strong because they all synergize together, and then what the Fire main does is he just adds extra survivability with his mystery, and that's what I'm talking about. It's all about, the Fire main is all about getting these characters like Shisui that are extremely strong and just keeping them alive for as long as possible, making them immune to debuffs, giving them shields, and removing debuffs from them for an entire turn. Putting your tanky clone out in front of Shisui to eat all the damage in the first round so Shisui doesn't get hurt. Stuff like that. Like, that's what you pretty much want to do with the Fire main, is to just keep these really strong characters alive. Another thing that the Fire main is extremely good at is the Ninetales event. So the Fire main is the best character for the Ninetales event. If you have Hashirama, you're going to want to use Hashirama. If you don't, you can replace him with a number of people. Danzo, Onoki. You could go with Yamato. Basically, you definitely want a barrier. You need a barrier with this lineup. And then Aruka is really strong because he buffs everybody's damage. Same with Asuma Windblade, all that good stuff. You can replace any of these characters with Guy, because Guy gives you the extra attack. And then, like I said, you need a barrier of some sort. So you could go with like Onoki or Danzo or Mei or Yamato in that spot, and then you could put Guy in one of those spots. You will get Asuma Windblade for free eventually from doing survival trials, so don't worry about that. You will get him. Okay, so let's take a look at every single character in the game, and we're going to go yes or no on whether or not they are good with the Fire main. So Aruka is really good for a lot of the teams you can use with the Fire main because he adds extra support on top of what the Fire main adds. So then you get 2 damage dealers with those 2 characters right there, and you have like a really supported damage dealing team. Aruka is really good. Cursed Hidan is definitely good because you can buff him with the Fire Style enhancement. Not super strong because he requires a lot of lifesteal to be good, but he's a very strong character by himself, so for sure. Osmo Windblade and Hashirama. Actually, you know what? That's Hashirama reminds me. So there's a team that I was seeing for a while that goes like, and I actually completely forgot about Sage Jiraiya. Ooh. Okay, so you could run this team right here. Okay, this team right here would be a pretty strong team because you've got 2 good damage dealers, support. Like I said, another thing you can do is you can replace Sage Jiraiya with Hashirama if you have Hashirama. Because I was seeing this team for a while. This team's actually really good because you can remove somebody else's barrier, put up Hashirama's barrier, which is extremely strong. Every time Sage Naruto recovers chakra, Hashirama's going to heal himself. Sage Naruto is just a really strong character. Like so you get crowd control, you get all this stuff. This was a really good team for a while that I was seeing in like the middle stages where the fireman kind of struggles to find his team. So if you have Hashirama or Sage Jiraiya with Sage Naruto, those are both really strong teams that you can use. Gakido is another good support character. I don't know if that's kind of a tough one. You could use Gakido for sure, but I think Gakido is better served with other teams. I've never really seen him used much with the Fire Main because he removes debuffs, the Fire Main removes debuffs, and there's better things you can put in that place. Like a healer would be better than Gakido just because they kind of overlap with the same thing. Shisui, like I talked about, that was my endgame team. Shisui is an endgame character, so if you have him, definitely you're going to want to build a team around him and use him. Kisame, you could do something with Kisame with the whole 10 chase stuff. Kisame is a really strong tank. You're going to obviously want to use him with somebody that doesn't have a barrier. He can rewrite the barrier. So Kisame is going to be decent. I'm not going to say great, but he's not going to be bad either. So Kisame is just a really strong overall tank. You can use him for sure. Mangetsu, only if you're using the Hidden Sword Ninja. But again, like I said, the Hidden Sword Ninja kind of are better with other teams, not necessarily the Fire Main. Itachi for sure if you're using Shisui. You can also just use Itachi in general because he's a kind of a strong ninja. He's much better with extra Uchiha in the team, so if you want to throw in like one of the Sasuke's or Shisui or Madara or somebody. Ida is definitely strong because being able to keep him alive and crowd controlled, undebuffed with your mystery is definitely going to help out Datara a lot. But again, like I said, I think the double standard attack that the Earth Main provides is going to be much better for Datara. Kushimaru, same thing like I said with Mangetsu. Hanzo is definitely very strong with the Fire Main because the two of them are going to be really good support characters, and Hanzo actually adds a little bit of damage through his debuffs as well. So if you're going to use 2 support characters, go with Hanzo and the Fire Main. They're really good. Roshi, like I said, there's a really long time in the game where Roshi is just amazing. Kurenai, once she's skill broken, is really good. You can kind of flip-flop back and forth between Hanzo and Kurenai. If you need more defense, go with Kurenai. You want a little bit more debuffs, you can go with Hanzo. Jigokudo, no, he's kind of situational with most of your teams. I'd say no. 4th Raikage is a strong character, but you might as well put him with the Lightning Main for the increased damage at that point and the lifesteal. Same thing with Darui, not really. Toro's like Lightning Main exclusive, pretty much. There's the Han team that I showed you, and you can go with Han pretty much with any team. It doesn't have to necessarily be with that Roshi team. If you're running into a problem with other people who have immunity, because then you can get rid of their immunity and then add your own immunity, and then all of a sudden you just swung the tables in your side for sure. Danzo's a really strong ninja with the Fire Main because of his barrier. His Izanagi, when used correctly, can be super helpful. He has the immobile with his chase. Those are all good stuff. Ringo's Lightning Main exclusive pretty much. Jinpachi can be used in a lot of ways. I would say Jinpachi is the one who works the best with the Fire Main. Just because Jinpachi doesn't have to be used with other swordsmen, he just has to be used with Ida Tensei Ninja. And there's a lot of Ida Tensei Ninja you can use. So if you went with Jinpachi and Ito Datara, you could throw both of them into a lineup with the Fire Main and then just throw in somebody who has a barrier that would help out both of them, like maybe Onoki. You could do something like that. I actually have seen that team. Fire Main, Onoki, Datara, and Jinpachi. That's a pretty decent team right there. Sasori, yeah, you kind of run into potential issues with Jinpachi, Sasori, and Ito Datara, but you could run all three of them together. Killer Bee, only if you're going to use Roshi and like another, like maybe Sage Naruto or somebody, just somewhere where you're going to take advantage of his shields, unless you're using Cursed Hidan, and then you can give him that extra standard attack, in which case then you can run Killer Bee as well. Ao, not really. I mean, he does provide shields, so if you like desperately need shields on top of the shield that you can produce yourself, you can with Ao. But I think Ao is kind of more of a waste of a character if you're gonna use the shield on your fire main. Haku, no. Great Ninja War 1010, no. Yukito, you could use if you're running the Jinchuriki team and you're trying to get off Roshi's 30-hit chase. She would definitely help out because you've got her and your fire main can both cause 10-hit combos. Utakata, not really. Sage Naruto, like I said, he's really strong all the time. Mei, you could use her for her really strong mystery, her barrier, and her chase. Gengetsu is mostly, you want to buff him as much as possible, and there's no way to buff him as the fire main, so he's pretty much the water main exclusive. Fuguki, if you're using him, it's only to get off a 30-hit chase, whether that's Itachi or Roshi's. Janine, no, he kind of needs to be with the earth main. He needs that extra damage as well. Kabuto, not really. Suigetsu, no. Conan definitely can be used with the fire main. She is good if you're going to use any other Akatsuki members. If you're going to use her by herself, not really. That's kind of a waste. But you can use her with Cursed Hidan to help out a lot. Kimimaro is a decent substitution for Neji or Hinata in the early game, but I recommend him more for like the Lightning main, where you have the ability to give him that lifesteal. I mean, I guess giving him the immunity debuffs and that little extra shield could help, but Kimimaro needs sustain a little bit more than he needs that immunity. So Kimimaro, not the best option, but he's not a terrible option either. Choza, I've never really seen anybody use them. Yukon and Sakon, they're kind of very niche. Kisame, not really. Ningendo, I mean, he gives you the same passive that the fire main does, so he's kind of a waste of a passive right there, because none of the other passives in that slot are going to benefit your team if you're running Ningendo. No, not really. She's just a really strong healer. If you want to use her, you can. If you want to replace some support character with extra healing. No, not really. Sage Jiraiya, definitely, because you can buff him. There's actually a time where I ran a full Sage Jiraiya buff team, where it was like Jiraiya, Iruka, and I think it might have been Danzo. I think I used Danzo for the barrier with the fire main, and everybody was just buffing the fire style so that Sage Jiraiya, the second turn, could just wipe people out. He's a really strong ninja with the fire main. He's almost exclusively used with the fire main, actually. No. You can run Mu, but Mu's like a discount Sage Naruto, to be honest, because his clone's not as tanky. I mean, he does revive, but I would rather run Sage Naruto than I would Mu. No, not normal, no. Guy is only there if you want to add some lifesteal to your team, especially actually early on. Any of those teams I showed you early where Iruka, if you don't have Iruka because you don't recharge in the beginning, Guy is a really good replacement because he adds that lifesteal to your team, which can help out. Sasuke is great early game because he has lots of combos and he can add extra ignition to your teams. He's got good damage. Itachi, no. Akatsuchi, no. Fu, no. Hinata, really strong tank early game. Great Ninja War, Hinata is more of like a blitz character. Not really. Yagura can be used. He's like a really niche character, but he can be used in pretty much any team because all you have to do is steal the right ninja from the other team and you can flip their strategy back on themselves. So Yagura can be used, but again, that's like a really situational thing. No, not really. I mean, if you have Ninetales, Chakra, Naruto, you probably don't, if you have them like 3 and 4 star, you probably don't need my advice, so... Kakashi, if you want to add that extra clone, but I think like the teams that I showed you would be better without Kakashi. No. Not really. You can use him, but honestly, he's not all that good. No, for the barrier, you could do that. No. Definitely the Neji like I talked about. No. Kankuro's decent, but he doesn't really synergize well. You can just use him early game. That's about it. No. Toby definitely is a strong ninja early in the game. He kind of falls off in those mid levels though. But if you get him early on, he'll be good, and you can buff him his fire style. No. Onoki for that barrier. No. If you want to use her for healing, but there's better ways to get healing. No. Sakura for the early game healing. Anko you can use for the barrier because you get her super early and she buffs fire style people. So you can use her for that barrier in the beginning, especially if you're going with against the fire, or not the fire main, the Ninetales. There we go. No. Super gimmicky, not really. No, you can use Hidan early, but it has to be early. Like you can't. He's not really good later. Cursed Hidan's better than him in every way. Again, really gimmicky. Not necessarily going to be good for PvP. He's really good in the arena though. You could use him there. No. Gimmicky. There's better options. No. Pakura, but she's deceptive. She's more used for buffing wind characters, because even though she's a fire style ninja, she's mainly used for like wind teams, and in that case you might as well go with the wind main. So no. If you're running an Edo Tensei team, sure. No. Actually, yes. Shurido, definitely. Shurido is strong because he has the interruption. He's kind of like an upgraded Iruka if you're not running a full Konoha team. So Shurido is definitely going to be really strong for you. No. Sailor Sakura, she's pretty much exclusively used with the water main because of their obvious synergies, so no. Susanoo Sasuke is just a really strong ninja in general, so he's good, and giving him that immunity is definitely helpful, although the lightning main probably does a little bit better. Kurama Naruto, already talked about him. Lee Gate of Joy, he could be good because his skill never misses, so he kind of helps with the whole dodge meta people. No. Guy Gate of Joy, he's probably only good with the lightning main because he needs that lifesteal because his mystery takes away his own max health. Anbu Kakashi is good if you're running any kind of Anbu team. So if you run Shisui and then you could run Anbu Kakashi, that would be a really strong team because then not only do they get the hidden status, but you can also give them the immunity to debuff from your mystery. So that's actually going to be a strong team there. Choji, Great Ninja War, is kind of situational. He's a scaling tank that can do a lot of damage, but he's not super tanky. Akatsuki Orochimaru, not really. Fifth Hokage, Tsunade, is just like one of the best healers in the team, or in the entire game. So if you want strong healing and you have her, you can use her. Third Hokage, not really. Edo Tensei Tobirama, not really. He's more of a... You kind of want to buff him as much as possible with like attack stuff, so no. Normal second Hokage, you can use him, but only for his mystery, and that's really only if you're going to do like Great Ninja War or Rank Battle. Edo Tensei Hashirama, it doesn't matter. Just if you have him, put him in your freaking team. Both Minatos are really strong with the Fire Main because they dodge, and then he's able to give them that immunity. So basically, the Minatos are both hyper carries, and keeping them alive is like your only priority. So something like the Fire Main helps them out a ton. No. Tendo is much better with the Lightning Main just because you want to buff him as much as possible. If you're running Kakuzu, you want to run him with like Ito Data or a full Akatsuki team. So he doesn't necessarily have to be with the Fire Main. And if anything, the Fire Main, they kind of overlap because he removes debuffs and the Fire Main removes debuffs. So they're kind of like a waste of a pass there. So not really. No. Susanoo Itachi is amazing with the Fire Main because you're able to buff Susanoo Itachi's damage because you don't need to worry about him getting... because he's immune to debuffs forever. So you don't have to worry about him getting, what's it called? Him getting crowd controlled, or like, so you don't have to use the Genjutsu Mirror Return. You can use Fire Style Enhancement and let Susanoo Itachi's standard attack just wreck people. In that case, you want to basically form an entire team of support around Susanoo Itachi and let him just go to town. Ida Tensei Nagato, yeah, you can. Nothing's like really synergizes perfectly with him, but you could. Samui, no. Raza, no. Masked Man is great with the Fire Main. All these full dodge teams with the Fire Main are really strong because not only do they dodge, but then he adds the immunity as well, and like together they're super, super hard to kill. So you just want to add as much crowd control or support around them as possible. So Masked Man's really, really strong support character, really good with the Fire Main. Third Raikage, you could, but again, better options with the Lightning Main. Kushina, both Kushinas actually can work out well with the Fire Main. Although they're both immune to debuffs, so, you know, again, they're probably better options. Madara, we talked about if you're going to use him with that, you're buffing him because of the Fire Style, and then that's just a troll character, so no. Alright. So there we go. I wasn't going to go over any of the talents because, again, the talents are so situational and they change with every single team. This video would be 6 hours long if I went over the talents for every single team because there's different options you can use every time. This is for defense. This is for enhancing fire style. This is super situational, mostly only used for like Ninetales. Most of the time you're going to want to go with Oboro Clone. Death Mirage is situational. You could use that with Cursadon or Conan, but probably don't want to. I mean, Oboro Clone is almost always the one you want to use. And then most of the time, once you unlock Mirroring Vision, you're going to want to stick with Mirroring Vision. Keep people as immune as possible. And then this is the best standard attack because it's AoE. So there we go. The Fire Main, like I said, endgame, extremely, extremely strong. Probably tied for the strongest endgame main character because of his ability to consistently refresh immunity to debuffs, and he's really very strong as a support character. And later in the game, it's all about those pay-to-win event ninja like the Minatos, like Susanoo Itachi, you know, Madara, KCM Naruto, all those characters that you have to, you know, spend a lot to end up getting. It's all about keeping them alive and letting them do what they're good at, and that's what the Fire Main does really well. So, there we go. There's my complete Fire Main team guide. Hopefully this helps you out. If you have any more questions, you can leave them down below. I'll try to get back to them. Hopefully somebody else can help you as well. Like I said, I try to cover this as much as possible without going over all the talents. The talents you kind of have to figure out for yourself based on your battle power and what your team is trying to accomplish. But yeah, there we go. So that is 2 down. We have 3 more main characters to go. So hopefully you guys are enjoying these guides and they're able to help you guys out with all the questions that you have. I will see you guys all in the next one. Thank you all for watching the whole way through the video. I really do appreciate it. I know these are longer videos, but I try to be as thorough as possible so there aren't too many questions around, you know, still left. But yeah, hope I see you guys all in the next video. Have a good night and peace.